Hello again, I'm Simon Kane and welcome to this week's episode of A Taste of California. A grand tour of America's Golden State and everything it has to offer. Its sights, its sounds, its foods and its wines. On Pacific Highway 101, about 90 miles north of LA, is this beautiful, easygoing beachside city of Santa Barbara, the hub of its own spectacular coastal California county. It's famous all over the world for its breathtaking setting. It's a dramatic mix of beaches, mountains, valleys, islands, and of course the ocean. Welcome to the American Riviera. It's one of those fortunate places with a year-round Mediterranean climate, and the city's full of distinctive architecture and famous landmarks like this, the Santa Barbara Mission, Queen of the Missions, evidence of its colourful history and rich Spanish heritage. There's a vibrant cultural art scene with world-class music, opera, dance and theatre all year round, and a plethora of restaurants where talented chefs prepare creative cuisine from fresh local produce paired with superb vintages from more than 60 premium wineries in the Santa Barbara wine country. And there's more, because Santa Barbara really is an amazing wine and food visitor destination, evident alone from the Bureau's newest campaign, Get Fresh on the American Riviera. You can pop in and ask for a free map brochure which highlights culinary tours, farmers markets and specialty shops, all designed to savour the flavour of Santa Barbara. This new culinary tourism guide is also available free through the Bureau's website. And it doesn't stop there either, because Santa Barbara is very much the wine region of the moment. Since the film Sideways, shot right here in Santa Barbara County, both the wines and the locations vie for prominence and each in their own way succeed. Have a look at the Sideways Guide to Wine and Life and the Sideways Map, both of which follow the same path as the wine tasting road trip in the film and are full of script extracts and great wine tips. You know, when you talk about fresh produce, there isn't anywhere better to buy it than at the farmers market. There's a farmers market every day in Santa Barbara. I'm here at the crack of dawn, well, 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. It's a bit chilly, got my fleece on. And we're going to see how some of the chefs pick out some of their ingredients. But great atmosphere, lots going on. Let's have a look round. Chef Josh Brown shops here for one of Santa Barbara's finest restaurants, Bouchon. Let's see if I can pick up some of his useful tips. What is this?
It's called spaghetti squash.
Spaghetti squash, why?
Because when you roast it, it actually becomes stringy.
Everything here is as fresh as the cool ocean breeze, so there's not much need to search for the best produce. It's all best, but I suppose it helps to know your onions. Do you sell strawberries?
Hey, you guys want to get this coming in our chef coats?
And there are more places still you can buy fresh produce. Why not nip down to the harbour front early in the morning, just after the fishermen have hauled their catch out of the Pacific Ocean? I'd get there a little earlier than we did, and you'd be left with very little to choose from. And incidentally, if you want to try some amazing cheese, there's a little shop just up the road, Say Cheese. Say Cheese. Get it? I heard this great quote that says, you must visit this winery even if you never go to another winery or actually prefer margaritas. Why, I wonder? Well, for one thing, it looks great. I'm told it's styled after Provençal wineries, and this mission-style building really complements the landscape and gives it a real Santa Barbara feel. The are fabulous, and what a place to enjoy them from this picnic spot here in the courtyard. This main building here was originally a horse barn, and then one dark and stormy night a large oak fell on it, and that was that. But it was rebuilt, and Sunstone now has one of the most attractive wineries and tasting rooms in the entire Santa Ynez Valley. It's got this small, family-run atmosphere, a country kitchen with a wood-burning stove, enchanting aging caves, and the wine library, harder to get into than the Vanity Fair Oscars party, is totally magical. That's a cracking good wine. You know, according to the winemaker Mark Farzi, the well-known wine critic Robert Parker says that the Santa Ynez Valley is the future of winemaking. Perhaps that's a very good reason why its wines feature so prominently on the wine lists of some of Santa Barbara's finest restaurants. Few cities in the world boast as many restaurants per capita as Santa Barbara, so the likelihood of trying them all is, frankly, pretty remote. So I consider myself particularly lucky to be sitting here in a restaurant that, when it opened on Bastille Day 1998, Wine Spectator called it Restaurant of the Moment. Proprietor is Mitchell Shervin. Restaurant of the moment.
Yes, we just hope that moment doesn't pass.
Indeed. Now, I've heard another quote that says Bouchon is wine country cuisine. Familiar?
Exactly, yes. We try to focus on everything that's local and fresh to Santa Barbara, from our organic produce to fish from the channel here in Santa Barbara, and serve it with the best of our local wines.
What did you want to offer when you set up Bouchon?
Well, the idea was to have the best of a local experience possible, and that's where the regional cuisine part comes in.
I understand you have something like 500 or 600 wines to choose from, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a fabulous array of wines from the Central Coast, which we define as starting in Monterey Bay, about 4 hours north of here, and running all the way down to Santa Barbara.
And the idea of pairing wines with food, if your patrons here really don't know what to choose, are they going to be able to be advised?
Absolutely. In fact, I think that's the strength of our service. We don't get accused of being stuffy or pretentious. We don't have a dress code. We like to be relaxed with our service. And one of the main things the staff can do is help you choose a wine to go with the dish you've selected for dinner.
I think relax is a really important word, because the entire style of this restaurant is relaxed. The ambiance is beautiful, the lighting is beautiful. I loved the way when I came in I saw that fabulous basket of freshly baked bread. It looked absolutely superb. Now, your chef Josh Brown, he's obviously designed this menu with fresh local ingredients in mind.
Exactly. This is, being the American Riviera, known for its wonderful climate, the home of wonderful organic farms that produce some of the best vegetables and produce in the area, as well as wonderful vineyards and wineries. And then we think about how those go together.
Are there things here that can't be found outside Santa Barbara?
Absolutely. And both on our specials page nightly, and then throughout the menu, we try to find those things that are difficult to get or very seasonal, like Santa Barbara spot prawns that you'll only find in the late summer.
If I want to just choose something, a nice sort of light, small dish, what could I take as a recommendation? I can't think of a better thing to do than be recommended by the proprietor.
Well, I try to do that on a nightly basis. I do spend some time here, and I would recommend the Farmer's Market tomato and toasted sourdough salad. It's a wonderful example of some of the best heirloom tomatoes in the area, paired with a crisp Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, I can't promise that you'll be able to sit here like I have been with Mitchell, the proprietor, but what you could do is come along and say, I want this dish, I saw it on the TV. At 31 West in the fabulous Hotel Andalusia, executive chef Michael Reardon is another of Santa Barbara's great culinary talents to take advantage of the county's bounty of fresh produce. But his rather unique criteria is always to use the best ingredient regardless of its location, so sometimes his search for the perfect solution takes him a little farther afield. So how exactly does that work?
I'm able to source ingredients all over the globe, just through a strong network of friends and purveyors that, I'm in contact with on a daily basis. Some examples of ingredients we source throughout the globe could be cuttlefish that I get flown in from Italy 3 times a week. It could be botarga, harvested by hand in Sicily. This morning we had some hake arrive via courier on our doorstep, and we decided to prepare it 2 ways. One very rustic, kind of like a working man's dish, hake braised on the bone with some oxtail and some Channel Island squid. Another preparation is much lighter, more springtime, roasted hake. This time it's with Yukon Gold potatoes, crushed with a fork, and some manila clams.
I asked Michael what was his most important ingredient, and it turned out that there were 2.
My most important ingredient, I'd have to say olive oil. I get it sourced all over the globe, and each one has its own personality. I've got a shaved artichoke dish on our dinner menu that screams for olive oil from Umbria. Another vital ingredient as a chef would be my people, my team. The passionate group that follow me every day and put up with the craziness.
And heading up that team is the culinary and wine director, Brett Bouchon. An expression that people hear all the time here is food and wine pairing. Can you tell me exactly what that means?
Sure. More than anything, it's about how the food and the wine will pair to the individual that's tasting both of them at the same time. I think more often than not, magazines and books will sit and say that this wine goes with this food, but it doesn't hold true if you don't like salmon. Salmon doesn't go with Pinot if you don't like salmon or Pinot. So I think that my staff's focus is more on asking the guest what they had last that they liked. If a guest wants a recommendation for red, I would encourage them to say, what is the last red that you had that you liked? Beauty of food and wine is that it's always subjective and it's always changing.
How do you make a decision on what wines to include in your wine list together with the foods that are prepared in the kitchen?
The classic definition of wine and food is white with fish and red with meat. And of course, there's some variants to that, but on a general level, I'll have an idea in my head when I taste Chef Reardon's food as to what wine I want to have with that food.
And ultimately, what does all this mean to the guest?
I think that if you go to a hotel or if you go to a restaurant, you're not going there to do too much thinking. And if you're able to put yourself in the hands of the people that are accommodating you, you'll have a much better time.
Of course, food and wine is only a part of what's a much bigger picture. The Hotel Andalucia is one of Santa Barbara's finest, and it's the only luxury hotel right in the city centre. With 5 stories of Spanish-style architecture, this is a sophisticated boutique hotel which seems so perfectly to represent the very essence of the American Riviera. The reception is big and bright, lots of wrought iron and terracotta, and plenty of comfy seating. Artworks hang throughout the public areas, almost as an extension of the Rose Snell Gallery of Contemporary Art found on the lower ground floor.
I had a vision to open a gallery in the hotel to showcase the many talented Santa Barbara artists and photographers. We have 4 shows here a year, opening with a private reception. You can also see the works of these artists throughout the hotel in the public areas and in the guest rooms.
The guest rooms and suites are gorgeous, all 97 of them, with little expense spared to provide the very, very best in guest comfort. If you're the president, you'll want the presidential suite. If you're not, you'll want it anyway because it's fab. A beautiful bedroom plus lounge and dining room, and of course a balcony with presidential views. But if the presidential suite is unavailable, don't worry, because a standard room is equally fab. Some great touches too, like the hand-painted details on the ceilings, finest furnishings and equally fine bed linens, plus state-of-the-art equipment like these pretty impressive telephones. Even the 4-legged family members are welcome, so no one's going to feel left out. Take the lift up to the roof and you'll step out into a piece of Andalusian paradise. It doesn't get much better than this. there's a real prize up in the hills of the Santa Ynez Valley. It's Los Olivos, a true western town and a natural setting for Fess Parker's Wine Country Inn and Spa, the perfect base for exploring the Santa Barbara wine country. In the 50s and 60s, Fess Parker played TV frontiersmen David Crockett and Daniel Boone. These days, his leading roles are in the visitor and winemaking industry. Fess, this is a departure from the movie business. What inspired you to come into this business?
A Christmas visit to Thornbury Castle near Bristol, one of Henry VIII's hangouts. Good food, great accommodations, a lot of history. Second thing was, we were in the wine business, and I kept thinking maybe we ought to have the opportunity to blend fine wine and fine dining together.
I saw guests coming up to you in the lobby saying, I saw David Crockett, Daniel Boone. Have you had enough of that, or do you still love that?
I've never tired of the people who enjoyed them. Let me put it that way.
And of course, that movie career gave you all of this.
It has. It's given me an opportunity that I would never have had otherwise. Had I played one of the top Hamlets or King Lears or whatever, I wouldn't have the same recognition that Walt Disney and television gave me in the 1950s.
Well, I think it's wonderful. I'm delighted to have met you. Thanks very much indeed. And it's been a pleasure to stay here. And I think any guest who comes out and stays here will remember it, definitely, for a long time. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Simon.
And here's the spa. It's just up the road from the hotel, and it's so pretty. There are loads of amazing treatments on offer. You'll just have to work your way through them. But as a taster, this one's called the Spa Vignette Harvest Crush. And you thought wine was just for drinking. You know, some of the buildings in this town date back over a century. In those days, of course, there was just the saloon bar to while away those precious hours, but nowadays there are alternatives, like the gorgeous Los Olivos Cafe and Wine Merchant. This is a great hangout for locals and visitors alike. It's upbeat and casual with bistro-style table settings and an amazing raised hearth fireplace. The food, well, it's open for lunch and dinner. California cuisine with a sprinkling of Mediterranean flair and a fantastic selection of wines from Santa Barbara and the Central Coast. Owner Sam Marmerstein created the cafe in 1995, adding the wine merchant, including a wine tasting bar, in 2001. In the tasting bar, you can try a selection of local and international wines by the glass. The wine merchant features one of the largest selections of Central Coast wines available anywhere, and over 300 local and international vintages. And by the way, there's also an online store, just in case you don't want to carry your own cases. Here's a couple of phrases you might have heard once in a while, or for that matter, probably every few days throughout your entire life. Phrases like, help yourself to the salad bar. Well, that comes with a green salad, a side salad, a mixed salad. In fact, salad appears on your plate with pretty much every dish ever served up, either as a garnish or a main ingredient. So it's very easy to take it for granted. But there's a little bit more to it than that. In fact, there's a lot more to it than that. And if you ever wondered how, in such a hot climate, these lush green products appear with such reliable consistency, then Hollandia Produce may well provide the answer, because Hollandia Produce's speciality is lettuce. Not just any lettuce. This is the home of hydroponic live gourmet lettuce. But what, I hear you ask yourself, is a hydroponic lettuce?
Hydroponic lettuce is one that's grown in water and not grown in the soil.
OK, let me explain. Growing it in water simply means a cleaner finished product. So clean, in fact, that every single leaf can be used. Hollandia also leave the roots on for ultimate freshness, so when you take it home, it's like harvesting in your own kitchen. And if all that hasn't got you jumping for joy, this will. A blended lettuce, 3 different varieties in one. Whatever next? There There are more than 1,000 species of native California plants in the foothills above Santa Barbara. It's the 65 acres of Santa Barbara's Botanic Gardens, 10 displays accessed by more than 5.5 miles of public trails. It's a living museum of California's flora and vegetation. I'm Simon Kane and you're watching A Taste of California. Here, perched on the Pacific Gold Coast between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara, is Ventura. Just an hour's drive north of LA, and with a distinctly Mediterranean climate, say hello to the Californian coast's rising star. With so many great sights and great views, it's hard to know where to start. Clearest of days, start here in Grant Park, its most striking symbol being the wooden cross raised in 1782, the year of the founding of the first mission. It's one of those fortunate places with a year-round Mediterranean climate, and the city's full of distinctive architecture and famous landmarks like this, the Santa Barbara Mission, Queen of the Missions, evidence of its colourful history and rich Spanish heritage. There's a vibrant cultural arts scene with world-class music, opera, dance and theatre all year round, and a plethora of restaurants where talented chefs prepare creative cuisine from fresh local produce paired with superb vintages from more than 60 premium wineries in the Santa Barbara wine country. And there's more, because Santa Barbara really is, and a look at the Sideways Guide to Wine and Life and the Sideways Map, both of which follow the same path as the wine tasting road trip in the film and are full of script extracts and great wine tips. You know, when you talk about fresh produce, there isn't anywhere better to buy it than at the farmer's market. There's a farmer's market every day in Santa Barbara. I'm here at the crack of dawn, well, 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. It's a bit chilly, got my fleece on. And we're going to see how some of the chefs pick out some of their ingredients. But great atmosphere, lots going on. Let's have a look round. Chef Josh Brown shops here for one of Santa Barbara's finest restaurants, Bouchon. Let's see if I can pick up some of his. On Pacific Highway 101, about 90 miles north of LA, is this beautiful, easygoing beachside city of Santa Barbara, the hub of its own spectacular coastal California county. It's famous all over the world for its breathtaking setting. It's a dramatic mix of beaches, mountains, valleys, islands, and of course the ocean. Welcome to the American Riviera. Hello again, I'm Simon Kane, and welcome to this week's episode of A Taste of California. A grand tour of America's Golden State and everything it has to offer. Its sights, its sounds, its foods and its wines. Amazing wine and food visitor destination, evident alone from the Bureau's newest campaign, Get Fresh on the American Riviera. You can pop in and ask for a free map brochure which highlights culinary tours, farmers markets and specialty shops, all designed to savour the flavour of Santa Barbara. This new culinary tourism guide is also available free through the Bureau's website. And it doesn't stop there either, because Santa Barbara is very much the wine region of the moment. Since the film Sideways, shot right here in Santa Barbara County, both the wines and the locations vie for prominence, and each in their own way succeed.